Good night, Shabbos, everyone. Erev Shabbos, Parshas Shmos. Sefer Shmos, the beginning of a new book, the beginning of a new chapter in life. Up until now in Sefer Parshas, it was all about setting the stage. It was all about individuals. Now we're turning into a community. We're turning into a nation. Now the whole vision, the whole outlook changes. And incredible things begin to happen. We have the beginning of the Parsha, which talks about the beginning of slavery, the birth of Moshe Rabbeinu, the raising of Moshe Rabbeinu, and Moshe Rabbeinu having to run away to Midian. And then in Perek Gimel already we see the choosing of Moshe Rabbeinu as the leader of the nation. Moshe was a roet son, which becomes a critical factor in the fact that he was able to tend and to care for a flock. That was part of his education, part of his chinuch, part of his preparation for becoming the leader of the Jewish people. And then Moshe Rabbeinu was walking, and he sees a Malach Hashem, the Malach Hashem appears to him, and he sees that the sneh is burning in fire, but it's not being consumed. Moshe says, Asura na, let me turn a little bit. See this amazing thing. Why is the sneh not burning? Vayar Hashem kisar liras, and Hashem saw that Moshe Rabbeinu turned himself to see. Vayiko elav Elokim, and God called out to him from the midst of the sneh, and he said to him, Moshe, Moshe, and Moshe said to him, Hineni. And then God turns to Moshe Rabbeinu and says, Vayomer al tikrav alom, says, don't draw too close. Shal na alecha, take your shoes off, me'ar aglecha, from your feet, ki hamakam asher ata omed, because the place you're standing is admas kodeshu, it's holy land. The Yalkut on this pasuk says, there's a machlokes between Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish as to how much Moshe Rabbeinu moved himself to be able to see this sneh. Rabbi Yochanan says he stepped 3 steps. Reish Lakish said he didn't move at all, he just turned his face just to be able to see it. And God responded to him and said to him, you troubled yourself to investigate, so I'm going to reveal myself to you. And that's when he said to him, Moshe, Moshe. And this was Moshe Rabbeinu's first lesson. It was the first step, the first foray into leadership that Moshe Rabbeinu got. It was the foundation. What was this foundation? What's the medrash mean? That because Moshe Rabbeinu turned 3 steps, he just turned a little bit. God said, you bothered yourself to find me, then I'm going to now reveal myself to you, Moshe, Moshe. Plus you have to wonder that God says to Moshe Rabbeinu, don't draw close. This wasn't Moshe Rabbeinu's first time on top of the mountain. The second time, the next time that he was on top of the mountain, God brought him right up to the very top of the mountain. He brought him a Rosh Shahar. Here he says to him, Al Tikuf Aloim, don't get too close. What was the difference? And he says to Moshe Rabbeinu, don't get too close because the place you're standing, Shal Na'alecha, take your shoes off because you're standing in holy territory. He wasn't standing in holy territory. That's why he told him, don't come too close, because the holy territory is over here. If you come too close, then it's too close. So he wasn't standing in Admas Kodesh, he wasn't standing in holy land. Why do you have to take off his shoes for? What's going on over here? Sateh, I think there's something unbelievable that's going on here. And I think what's happening here is as follows. We know that the Yetzer Hara of a person works very, very hard to ensure that a person gets pushed away from serving Hashem and presents all kinds of rationalizations. We're fooled into thinking that the place that we're in, the situation that we're in, is the thing that's preventing us from actually getting any closer. If I only lived over there, it would be much better. If it would only be a different time in my life, a different time, I would be able to grow much more than I'm growing now. If I was surrounded by different people, if I had different situations going on in my life, I'd be able to draw much closer to God. And the truth is, we throw up all these obstacles. God turns to Moshe Rabbeinu, and he lets Moshe Rabbeinu know that that's not true. That you can serve God wherever you are. He turns to Moshe Rabbeinu and he says to him, Al tikruf haloim. Don't wait until you get there. Shal na'alecha me'ar raglecha. Take those barriers off your feet. Take the barriers that stand in front of you and you'll realize Ki hamakom asher ata oimed, the place you're standing, Admas Kodeshi, that is holy place. Right now, this second where you're holding, where you are right now, this is Admas Kodesh. You don't have to wait till you get there. You don't have to wait till your situation changes. You don't have to wait till you get to another milestone. Right now, right here, that's Admas Kodesh. And Moshe Rabbeinu, all he had to do was just take 3 steps. According to Rish Lakish, just turn his head. One small movement, and all of a sudden God appears. V'yomer Moshe Moshe, v'yomer hineni. All of a sudden, everything changes. And God sends Moshe Rabbeinu a message. One small movement, it can change your entire life. Just make a little turn. We see that Moshe Rabbeinu got this message later on in his life. Moshe Rabbeinu, his face shone. Medrash says, what was his face shining from there when he was up in Shemayim? There was a little bit of ink left over from the writing of the Torah. What exactly that means, a little bit of ink left over. Remember, God's the one that prepared the ink. He would have known that exactly how much ink he needed. But Moshe Rabbeinu took that ink and he wanted that for himself, rubbed it on his face, and that was Kikaron or Parnov. His face shone because of that. Because all Moshe Rabbeinu wanted is to hold on to a little bit. He wanted to move a little bit closer to God. He wanted to have a little bit more of an attachment. And it's just that little bit of movement. It's just that little bit of a step. Shal na'alechem raglecha. Take your shoes off. Feel where you are. Stop and be in the moment. And then you'll be able to realize Ki Admas Kodeshu. You're standing in holy territory. Today is a holy day. This minute is a holy minute. There are incredible holy things to accomplish right now. Not later, not tomorrow, not another year, not another lifetime. And this is the first message that Moshe Rabbeinu gets, and it's the first message that Klal Yisrael gets. Just make a little bit of a turn. Right here, right now. And suddenly God will appear before you. And it can change your entire life. If you're always thirsting, always desiring to learn and to see new things, the Admas Kodeshem, you're standing in a very, very holy place. Have a beautiful, amazing, wonderful Shabbos.